Good evening. We'll call to order the public hearing for the Granite Falls School District regarding the Board of Directors district mapping at 5:45. Don't see any here to comment, so we'll just wait. You just wait the 15 minutes?
No, you can close the hearing.
No.
I sent you a little script if you want to.
That's right. You did tell me that, and I couldn't open it when I was at work. Let me. You sent it. You said you sent it, right? I don't have a spreadsheet.
Let me take a look here.
Unless it went to my other email. Perfect. All right. This is a public hearing in accordance with RCW 29A 76010 in order to have individual districts with balanced populations following a US Census. Districts are to redistrict so that each director represents similar sized populations. The school district employed a demographer prior to the 2021 board election to reflect such a change. The process then requires legal descriptors to be assigned to the boundaries, followed by publishing the new boundaries and holding a public hearing. At this time, we've dedicated 15 minutes for anyone who wishes to comment on the new boundaries before making final approval. Is there anyone who wishes to address the board on these new boundaries? Seeing no one, I'm adjourning this hearing and the school board meeting will begin at 6 p.m. 5:48. It's 6 o'clock. We'll call to order the regular school board meeting in Granite Falls School District. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This evening, we have with us Director Ledoux, Director Kincaid. I'm Director Veach, and I'd like to make a motion that we excuse Director Carl Carey, who has a conflict with work tonight.
I will second that motion.
The motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, we have. Oh, I need to make a motion actually to move the accounts payable report out of the consent agenda and to new business, item 7E.
I will second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Right, next we have board comments. Director Kincaid.
Oh, good. Okay. Can you skip me for a minute?
Yeah.
I gotta regroup my.
Director Ledoux, are you ready?
Yeah, really quick tonight. So keep going with bettering students, bettering the processes, going through all that. Not to expect a tidal wave of asks or anything, but I've received one ask, and that was from our superintendent. And so in PLCs, which I plan to attend beginning here in March, work schedule and stuff, fitting those in, but they are a high priority for me. But to reiterate on that, there's no question that's a dumb question. There's no ask that's too outrageous. I reserve the right to say no if it is too outrageous, but it just needs to be asked, right? And like I said, no question is a dumb question. I'll just keep reiterating that because we do need feedback. We do need direction and where to grow. One thing, a positive note that I wanted to say that we have on the agenda too, addressing financial fitness. I do love love to see that. One of my favorite quotes is compound interest. Those who understand it, earn it. Those who don't, pay it. Right. And so it's a huge gap in not just Granite Falls, everywhere. Everywhere is a huge gap. So I do love seeing that come in. That's just a high level of just all my comments for today.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to talk briefly about the policy that we discussed last meeting, or that Director Carey brought up from the National PTA. And I'm in the process of putting that together. And last week it was brought to our Family Advisory Council to get opinions from parents on how they feel about it. And I just wanted to say that it's really exciting to put this together and to get opinions from people from all different, areas of the district and from parents and all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to talk about our council really quick. We've had some really great parents show up and help out and give us their opinions and thoughts on family engagement and how we can all be working together. So I just wanted to say, if there's anybody out there who's interested, who has a passion like we do for family engagement and just wanting to push up their sleeves and get the ball rolling on that kind of stuff, to shoot me an email or shoot Dr. Mance an email, because we would love to have them.
Thank you. So would you mind forwarding me the invites as well?
Yeah.
Just so I have it on the calendar.
Yeah.
I think if there's just two of us, we can go. So I'll come with you. All right. Also, I wanted to second what Director Ledoux was saying about attending the PLCs. My leg is still in a cast, but at least I'm not in a wheelchair. So I will be, I'm out of the wheelchair and ready to go to PLC meetings as well. So I appreciate the invitation from Dr. Middleton, and I look forward to taking part in those and being part of the process to drive, whatever needs to happen and however I can help to do that in those PLCs. So I look forward to that, and also looking forward to, as we've talked about a few times now, data-driven discussions here in this meeting with goals that are aligned to those discussions, right? They really just we need to align that, and we need to have those hard conversations. And I invite you to call us out and ask for help in any way that the board can support the work that you're trying to do. Boots on the ground. We're here for it. Finally, I just wanted to give a quick update. So first, we have an ask, and this is to the community members and to parents, and this is from WASDA. There is House Bill 1436. This is a bill for funding for special education, and we have been asked to please contact our legislators here in the 39th district, which is Senator Wagner, Keith Wagner, Carolyn Eslick, and Sam Lowe. I got them all. Yes. And also the members of the Senate Ways and Means Committee and the House Appropriations Committee to have that conversation to max fund special education and to pass House Bill 1436. So we've been asked to do that. I've been sending emails for the last 2 weeks to these people. They're probably tired of hearing from me, but they will hear from me again. So if you would like to join in to help support that one way or the other, I guess. And then, I just wanted to give a quick update. We talked last time about the work that Dr. Middleton and Director Carey and I have been doing to try and meet with our legislators regarding our regionalization factor here in Granite Falls to kind of gain some understanding around why we get a 12% regionalization factor, yet we're bordered by other districts that are receiving 18 and even 24%. So I know that we mentioned before, we've met with Senator Wagner. He proposed a Senate bill for us, and I don't believe it got out of committee this year, but we appreciate his effort to advocate on our behalf. In addition, we met with Representative Lowe and Representative Eslick. I mentioned that before. This past since our last meeting, we also spoke with TJ Kelly, who's the CFO at OSPI, just trying to, again, get some understanding. We still don't have the clarity we're seeking yet, but we appreciate the partnership with OSPI and the partnership with our representatives to try and understand where we are and what the next 4 years is going to look like for Granite Falls, right? As they're kind of hashing out the budget, and we're just trying to understand and make sure that we're advocating for ourselves to see what will happen there. So we don't have a ton of information, just wanted to let you know that we didn't forget, we're still working on it. Yes, that is, yeah, I think that's all I have. Did you guys have any other? Okay, so we'll move on to district reports for a superintendent report.
We had a little bit longer meeting at our meeting 2 weeks ago, so I don't have a formal presentation, but just want to share a few items. And working in field of education, very rewarding for all of our staff members. And it's also has its set of challenges, but you add a layer of emergencies. And I just want to give a huge shout out because we had 2 really pretty critical medical emergencies in the last week or so. And not going into detail, but both cases, students and staff responded. They were able to administer the aid, contact 911, provide comfort, keep everyone calm, and did whatever needed to do until the medics arrived. And one was on campus, one was off campus. And so, these are very, very traumatic events. And crises are incredibly stressful. But again, our staff really was incredible, and just want to give a big shout out to them, and thankful for those who are in hand who were able to handle that in that manner. Related to safety, our principals did meet with the vendor from E3, which I shared last week, and they have given their thumbs up on it. I was able to contact one district that are in the early phases of implementing it, and I know Dan has also. We want to meet a little bit one more time before we go ahead and get the app, but really it's been very positive reviews internally as well as externally. This coming Monday, February 27th, is our 3rd parent forum, 6 o'clock at Crossroads Commons. And Erin Wood, who you remember, she came and presented on threat assessment earlier this year. She's the presenter. She's a licensed counselor as well as the manager of the safety department at the Northwest ESD. She'll be here. It's also available on Zoom. We've gotten word out to the community, and the title of her presentation is "How are the kids doing?" And so really she's looking at how are students responding since the pandemic and what can we do to support. So it's just providing some helpful tips for parents. So we really want as many to come out as possible. The Jewel lawsuit that we were part of, class action suit nationally, has been settled. Right now, there's discussion on how to distribute those funds. So they're in that process. And I think I shared last time that we might be looking at $30,000, but and I think there'll probably be one more board action on accepting that. So that's something that will be coming. But the same firm is looking for districts who might be interested in joining a class action suit against social media firms who, they feel have really created damages as well as chaos in kids' lives and schools. And so we're not looking for any action tonight, but just wanted to let you know that this same firm is looking at a national class action lawsuit against, again, social media companies for the impact they've had over the last few years, and really how that has impacted schools. And I think I've shared a number of times that oftentimes the interactions on social media that occur between students off campus then spill over to our district, and we're left to oftentimes clean up a mess, and often sometimes involves threats, sometimes just behavior that's, again, starts to be a substantial disruption to our school. And so just something to think about. As I get more detailed information, I'll share that with you, but that's just an update on where that lawsuit has. So that's all I wanted to share with you tonight. Any questions on those items?
No.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, 4B board reports, WIAA.
Nothing in too much detail other than, make sure to get out and support spring sports where you can. Baseball, softball, soccer, girls tennis, track. I think I'll have to confirm. It sounds like golf was supposed to be new in this year. It might be a little up in the air just because of, no, it's not happening. Yeah. So it's just logistics, and you obviously need a golf course to play. So maybe next year. But yeah, so just get out there, support the sports. These student athletes are working very hard out there. So get out there and make sure that they see your support as well.
Thank you. Community report.
Yeah, so just wanted to recognize our the Granite Falls Coalition for their highly successful Empty Cups fundraiser event that they had. They raised almost or around $15,000, so it was really successful. There's a really nice article in the Herald about that. The chamber just wants you to know that their next meeting is March 9th. And they are always looking for people to come to that. And then city council should be March 1st. And if you are busy like me, they have all kinds of information on the city council website or the city website with meeting minutes and videos and all kinds of things. So if you miss a meeting, you can get all your info there.
Right, thank you. And I guess I'll say for the legislative report, just that Director Carey is planning to attend on Monday, the 27th, the Day on the Hill in Olympia. So he'll be attending that. Right, items from the floor. We have no items from the floor, so we'll move on to item 6A, second reading to amend policy 2020, course design, selection, and adoption of instructional materials. Any discussion?
No. On this one.
I make a motion that we accept, or that we approve the second reading to amend policy 2020, course design, selection, and adoption of instructional materials.
A second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, 7A, new business, financial fitness goals. And that will be presented by Trudy Sullivan.
Thank you for having me tonight. My name is Trudy Sullivan, and I am a CTE teacher. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold, so I'll try to. Did this work?
It does.
The mic work. I'll try to be not too loud and not too quiet. I am a CTE teacher at the high school. I've been there 15 years. It's the only teaching job I've had, and about 10 of those years have been spent teaching what I call financial fitness, but which is basically personal finance or financial literacy. And myself and another teacher teach it, and we teach it primarily to juniors, seniors, and a few juniors now and then. So I'm here tonight to talk to you about establishing financial education goals. And I have a short PowerPoint from this. And the idea here is that we will get some professional development grant money, which I'll explain in a bit. Before we get started though, into too much detail, this is clicker. Aha, it works, look at that. A little background about financial literacy in the state of Washington. So around 2008, 2009, during the financial crisis, many states, including ours, said, hey, we got to do something because nobody knows how to balance a checkbook and nobody knows about loans and nobody knows about interest. And they created in 2009 something called the Financial Education Public-Private Partnership. We call that FEP. And FEP's goals have been to provide curriculum review. So they look at all different types of financial education programs out there. They do education standards and they do professional development. And I've been fortunate enough over the last few years to be involved in their professional development as a fellow. So it was kind of an honor given to a handful of teachers across the state, where we go throughout the state and teach other teachers, hey, this is how you deliver curriculum on financial literacy. So that's been a real honor. And that's the Teacher Fellow Program. And then they also developed in 2016, financial education state standards, K through 12. And I was also fortunate enough to be part of writing those standards. And they're out there. Not every district follows them, but they're there on the OSPM website. We have actually state standards for financial curriculum. So what do schools do across the state? Very interesting. I actually just got some data on this, just like yesterday. 108 districts offer a financial education course of some sort. This could be a trimester, a quarter, a semester-long course, a year-long course. 119 districts embed it in other curriculum, like social studies or math, for example. And then there's a handful of districts, including, which I thought was interesting, Seattle Public Schools, which really don't have any formal financial education at all. So it varies greatly across the state what every district is doing. Puyallup was in the news recently because they decided they're going to make it mandatory for the class of 2026. And I think there's another district, maybe 2 other districts that have it mandatory. Some districts offer something called financial algebra as financial education, but I'm here to tell you, I looked into that and it is not the same because it doesn't dive deep enough in that personal finance. It's just really focused on math. So you may hear districts or other schools say, hey, we teach financial algebra. It's good, it's something, but to me, it's not quite enough. But there really has been no push by FEP or the state legislature or OSPI to really say, hey, you need to have mandatory financial education, at least at the high school level. So what they're really doing is saying it's up to you, up to each individual district. Here at Granite Falls, we offer a year-long CTE course called Financial Fitness. And it's also offered at Crossroads. We cover everything in that year, which is really cool. So we talk about opportunity costs and decision-making and how to get a job, how to keep a job, choosing a career, taxes, paychecks. I have to remember all the things. Banking, credit, debt, transportation. This week we're learning about investing. We're playing a stock market game, and today we played a cryptocurrency game. And we've been learning about NFTs and investing, speculative investments. We do identity theft, consumer, being a smart consumer, and insurance and housing, and I think I named it all. And if time allows, we'll even dive into estate planning. So it's really cool that we get to have it for a full year and we get to cover all these areas of financial literacy. It is a third-year math alternative at Granite Falls High School, and I don't know if it is at Crossroads, so I don't want to speak on that because I don't want to jump the gun, but it may be. But it is definitely at the high school. So students who don't want to take a third-year math, who aren't necessarily college-bound, will take it as that instead of Algebra 2, they'll take financial education. And as a bonus, it also covers a lot of the senior exit interview requirements that we have for graduating seniors, such as the resume and the personal budget and some of the career planning elements that are required as part of the high school and beyond plans and senior exit interview. What else? So next steps for districts. So really the reason I'm here is because last March, there was Senate Bill 5720, and this was the legislature's bill on financial literacy. It passed, by the way, both houses unanimously, which is kind of unheard of in this political time. And I did provide a copy of that bill for you. In the bill, it states that each school district, charter school, state, tribal school, by March 1st of this year shall adopt one or more goals for expanding financial education instruction to students in their district. And there's a variety of goals out there. Really, this is where the sort of the funding gets attached, because if you don't have these goals established, you might not qualify for some of the grant funding that's coming down the pipeline. So right now, staff will be leading that grant distribution. I imagine they'll be coming out in the next couple months. It's not a ton of money, but it will be some money, especially geared towards professional development in the areas of financial education for staff and teachers. So the proposed financial literacy goals that Karen and I talked about is to continue, one is to continue to offer a high school personal finance course to all students. Not that there's any, it's not that it's going to go away next year or anything like that, but just, I think we want to really kind of cement that we're going to keep doing that. And then also to offer training to elementary and middle school teachers on how to integrate financial education into their current curriculum. There's so much you can do, even with kindergartners, when it comes to savings or decision-making at the middle school and upper grade levels like 6th, 7th, 8th, upper elementary grade levels, 6th, 7th, and 8th. You can really start focusing on things like percentages and interest. Not that we're not already doing that, but maybe a more sort of cohesive way of doing that. And we have lots of free curriculum out there. Some of it has already been vetted by financial education, public-private partnership, but there's a lot of stuff out there, and it really is at no cost to districts to implement. So at this time, I think these goals are achievable, and I'm here to ask you guys to implement some financial education goals for our district. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them, I guess. Sorry, did I talk too fast?
Yeah, close.
No.
I understand. Is there, so do we have any action on this then? Or is there?
I think as Trudy is suggesting, it's more of a validation of the work that is already going on. So the first goal is very, very concrete. The second one is, if I understand it correctly, is providing some professional development to our teachers to get it integrated. Just, I know Dr. Mans and I did a walkthrough at the middle school and came across a math class that was actually doing some financial fitness. So I think it's going in pockets, but having a professional development plan, I think we would hit it more widespread. So
yeah, and I concur, and I think that just being aware of it and sort of, like having teachers, especially the K-8 teachers, kind of being aware, like, oh, what can I do with this lesson that may incorporate financial literacy standards? That would be, this is sort of a different mindset.
And I would imagine after a year of that professional development, we might be coming back with even more concrete goals,
Exactly.
but this is a start.
Yeah, so just for clarity's sake too, what we already have in place meets the requirements.
Yeah, I mean, we're
Okay.
doing well, I would say. We're one of those 108 districts. And from my experience, there's not very many districts that teach a year-long financial education. So a lot of them are electives that are 1 quarter, 1 semester. So I think we are offering a really, we have a really strong financial education program. And I just think we want to make sure that we continue that. And you're not saying it's going to go away. I'm not leaving yet, but, you know.
No, I wholeheartedly, no, I wholeheartedly,
Janitorial duties.
yeah, I wholeheartedly agree doing this across, I mean, financial literacy it's a habit, it's not a learned thing. Technically, like and so the more that it can be integrated, I believe, like, I don't expect, a first grader to go take a financial literacy course.
No.
That's not like a subject in school, but within math, like, for instance, I'm sure, I know a few of us probably helped out like the book fair and stuff. You see every child's dreams get crushed when they have $20 and they pick a book that's $19.99, they can't afford it because of tax. Right, and that basic understanding and
And
working
just,
through that.
there's a lot of lessons on decision making.
Yep.
And, if you say that the old fashioned marshmallow study, if you don't eat one marshmallow and you can wait 10 minutes, you'll get 2 marshmallows.
Mhm.
That sort of concept that you can start keeping at the elementary level, with opportunity costs and,
Yep.
and delayed gratification.
Yeah.
I have a comment, first of all. Every success in education thing that I've attended, all of the students say that financial fitness is their favorite. So I just want to give you props to that because I keep hearing that over and over and over again. So you're doing something right. And question, the schools that have it as a graduation requirement, do they have that as like just one course, or is it like maybe they have like a freshman and then a sophomore?
Usually it's by your senior year, from my understanding. Not an expert on this, but from the few that I know of, it's usually like a semester long or quarter long, depending on what the district, what the building is at. Quarter long or semester long class required prior to graduation. So usually it fits in the senior schedule.
Okay.
But I've also heard things that, well, a lot of times it gets waived because the kids need,
Yeah.
we need to waive it for this, or we need to waive it for that. So, it's not been a push by the state, and I have mixed feelings on that.
I was just gonna ask you, like,
Yeah,
how do you
I
feel
think,
about it?
Part of me is like, yes, every student should have it, but I also understand that sometimes it doesn't fit into student schedules. On the other hand, I think if we say, okay, we have a student who's 4-year college bound, and those are usually the students that it doesn't fit very well, but really, those are the kids that need it just as
Yeah.
bad, if not worse than some of our students who are not necessarily college bound. Because they're going to get strapped with a lot of debt otherwise, right? And how do we manage that? So in my experience, all students need it, but I understand that it's really difficult to say it's mandatory, you have to have it for graduation. So,
So I will say that 4 of my daughters have taken financial fitness, and coincidentally, one of them purchased a car in the last week or two, since the last board meeting for sure. And was using I'll just tell you, while she was sitting there looking at the interest rates, she realized if she made this X amount of a down payment, she could get a lower interest rate on the thing. And she remembered that from class. So kudos to you. And she's got a 2019 car now. So yeah, which is good. And she did a lot of work figuring
that's the
out.
whole thing. I did a lot of research.
I will tell you that, of course, she wanted the really cool looking car, but when she looked at how much her budget could afford and how much the insurance on said car was. So kudos to, but I don't remember if you taught all 4. I think both of you might have had some of my kids.
I had a few.
Yeah, I know. Well, we're sending another one your way here pretty quick, but yes, they've had 4 and they've all been successful coming through it. I'm not saying they make,
No.
but they, and I love everything about bringing that down into the middle school and the elementary school. I will tell you, I thought I did a pretty good job as a parent with this kind of thing. And I took my son to BECU to get his savings account, his checking account, his debit card, and he put his money in there, and it took him like a day to overdraft. And I was like, wow, it didn't occur to me that he would be blowing through that money at different, in a day, but yeah.
I really see the gaps too. I mean, and of course, it's been a little worse during, having the seniors now that have been so affected by COVID. But and being out of school, but there is that gap, you know, I have to reteach percentages.
Mhm.
You know, and part of it is because if they've been taking geometry and algebra, it's not been, you know, taught to them since middle school or elementary school, but I really have to reinforce it. I spend a lot of time reteaching basic math, believe it or not, which is fine, I like it, and it qualifies for that third year math. By doing that, we integrate a lot.
So I do love the idea of moving it down and talking about overdraft fees. And how to transfer money between accounts.
Yeah.
But anyway, you mentioned that there's some, I thought you said free curriculum through FEP.
Oh, there's tons.
Is this, do we have this implemented and approved yet?
Well, no, we
I don't-
need to do that, yeah.
Yes, let's.
Yeah.
So I'm on this other committee. Please bring it through and
There's so much out there, really, and a lot of it has been one of the women who's been instrumental in sort of vetting this is a woman named Pam Wally from Western Washington University. She's an economics professor. She was one of the people that started FEP, and she's now going into retirement, but she has done a lot of time and effort and research into curriculum with committees. And so I feel really strongly like what FEP puts out there is good stuff.
I look forward to seeing it in the instructional materials, the agenda, because well, any other questions?
No, just it's recency bias, but like I read the book Atomic Habits, if that's it. And it just shows that, right, you can know how to do something, right? You can know how to, build something, you can know how to, wash, right? Everybody knows how to wash their dishes and stuff like that, but it has to be a habit to actually do it continually. And so while the class is super helpful, and while, Tina's kids have gone through it and everything, learning it is one thing, putting it into practice all the time is what builds a habit out of it. And so that's the key there, which is why I'm not just for it. I would think I would be remiss if I didn't say that we have to have it at all.
And I do spend a lot of time with the seniors talking about choices.
Mhm.
And I use the famous Rush, the band Rush, and the quote that is, if you do not make a choice, you still make a choice, right? So basically, we talk a lot about decision making and getting them into, because it's more than just knowing it, you have to act on it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Any other questions?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That would be a motion to approve those two goals.
Oh, okay, then I will.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the financial fitness goals.
I'll second it. Because I never get to second. All right, the motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, 7B, resolution 22-2304, redistricting directors' districts to adjust to the 2020 census. And hold on, I have these open. There we go. All right, so I have a resolution. I'll read the resolution. The Granite Falls School District number 332, resolution 2022-2023-04, redistricting director districts to adjust to 2020 US Census data. Whereas the Granite Falls School District number 332 has received the 2020 federal decennial, I guess I've never said that word out loud. I know what it means. Anyway, census information applicable to the Granite Falls School District. Whereas the Granite Falls School District number 332 is a special purpose district with a governing body comprised by internal director districts delineated in chapter 29.70.100 of the revised Code of Washington, and is obligated to respond accordingly to receipt of census data. Whereas the Granite Falls School District number 332 has conducted a review of these census data relative to the criteria established by chapters 28A. Dot, is it dot or point? I don't even know. 0.343.040 and 29, we'll just say dot on this one, dot 70.100 subsection 4 of the revised Code of Washington, resulting in the development of modifications to its director districts. Whereas a public hearing was advertised in the Everett Herald and held on Wednesday, February 22nd, 2023, for the purpose of presenting the proposed Granite Falls School District number 332 Director District revisions and to receive related public comments. And whereas after hearing and considering public comment relative to the proposed Director District revisions for more than 1 week pursuant to Chapter 29.70.100 subsection 5 of the Revised Code of Washington, the Granite Falls School District number 332 Board of Directors has determined that Director District revisions are necessary to provide for constituent needs and to comply with statutory requirements. Now therefore be it resolved that the Granite Falls School District number 332 Board of Directors adopts the director revisions presented and directs the superintendent as board secretary to so notify the Educational Service District and adopted this 22nd day of February 2023, signed Board of Directors. We have any additional?
That was impressive.
Thanks.
No discussion.
Okay, I know you have,
I mean, I'm fascinated with where they got their numbers from and looking at my district, because my district is no man's land. I mean, there's literally, like, my whole district is mountains and that way, but yet I have the most people and I have like no neighborhoods, so that's interesting, but I'll take it, I guess.
All right, so do we just
Make
make a
a
motion to accept this?
I'll make a motion that we accept resolution 22/23-04 redistricting director districts to adjust to 2020 US Census data.
Awful. I second.
All right, the motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
I
Is a lot of words.
It's a lot of alliteration.
Redistricting director districts, yes. All right, 7C, first reading to amend policy 2021 library information and technology programs.
Madam Chair and members of the board, both 7C and D are laws the recommended policies that we would be adopting.
Okay.
Or we're amending the first and adopting the second.
Okay.
Any discussion?
no.
I just noticed they use the word teacher librarian, so I didn't know if there was a specific, just to kind of cover the bases.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So I'd like to make a motion that we accept the first reading to amend policy 2021 library information and technology programs.
I'll second.
The motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
I
Aye. 7D, first reading to adopt policy 6580, continuity of operations. Any discussion? Questions? All right, I make a motion that we accept the first reading to adopt policy 6580, continuity of operations.
second.
Motion's have been made and seconded. All in favor?
I
All right, now we have 7E, the accounts payable report that was previously part of the consent agenda. Any discussion? So I pulled this out of the, just for information, I pulled this out of the consent agenda because Director Ledoux received a reimbursement as part of that accounts payable. So I moved it out as he intends to abstain, but I'll let you.
Yeah.
I'll be abstaining.
So I make a motion that we accept, well, actually better roll down and make sure I say it the right way.
Approve accounts
Or
payable.
yeah,
Do we have?
yes, we do. So I looked this up. I guess I should say this too. We have 3 people here, which makes it a quorum. And then within that quorum, we only need a majority to approve it. Yes, I actually had I had a moment ahead of this. Actually, it was a 2-hour moment ahead of this meeting to ensure that I had the right information.
Sorry.
So no, I think that's an important clarification. I appreciate you bringing it up so that everybody knows. So 3 people makes it a quorum of a meeting, and then we need a majority of that quorum. So, all right, I will make a motion that we approve the accounts payable report from. Does it have a date on it? I can't see. Account for January. There it is, for January 2023.
I second.
All right, all in favor?
I.
Aye.
I abstain.
Thank you. Now moving on to section 8, consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Okay, then the consent agenda is approved. So there's not anything else. Okay. That is all. So we will adjourn this meeting at 6:43.